Good morning, all of you. Now, today, in continuation with the same literature chapter, The Midnight Visitor, let's continue with the story. We are on page 116, and we have done till the place that the detective Ausable. Now, he does not look like how we imagine a detective to look like, so his physical appearance also does not match with our mindset of how a detective or a secret agent should look like. And he looks very sloppy, he's fat, he wears a wrinkled suit, and it is also, it is dirty, and so he doesn't look like detective. And Fowler, now he comes to him, and he thought that he is a writer, and he wanted to write about a secret agent's life. And now he comes to him, but he is disappointed when he sees him. He is like, this is not what I imagined. And the place where Ausable lives, now that hotel also is like a very low class hotel. And so now till the time, what we have done is that Ausable takes Fowler to his room, and so he unlocked the door of his room, and he stood aside, and he let his guest, means he let Fowler to come before him, or to go before him in the room. So now we have to start from "You are disillusioned." Okay, so Aranya, start reading from here. You are disillusioned. Aranya, can you hear me? Nusra, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, beta, read.
Ma'am, from You Are Disillusioned.
Yes.
You are disillusioned, Ausable told him. But take cheer, my young friend. Presently you will see a paper, a quite important paper, for which several men have risked their lives, come to me in the next to the last step of its journey into official hands. Someday, soon that paper may well affect the course of history. In that thought, there is drama, is there not?
All right. Okay, so we already know that now, though Ausable, he does not look like a detective, but still he is quite a skilled detective, and he understood the look on Fowler's face, and he knew that he was disappointed. And so he says that you are disillusioned. He says that yes, I know that you are disappointed, because maybe you thought me to be like a very smart and handsome looking detective living in a very posh hotel and all that. So I know that you are disappointed, Ausable told him. But he says, but still you be happy, take cheer. Why? Because very soon you will see a paper, and this paper is a very important paper, a paper for which many people have also risked their lives. And now this paper, it comes to me, now it is in the last steps of its journey before it goes into official hands. And then he says that someday soon this paper, it could affect the history of it could affect the course of history, it could also affect the history of this place. Means this paper is very important, many people have risked their lives, and now finally it is in its last steps of journey. Now it is coming to me, very soon it will be in official hands, and then someday soon it will change the course of history also. And then he says that, is this thought not enough drama for you? You wanted drama and romance and adventure, and now is this not enough drama for you? And as he spoke, so Ausable, he closed the door behind him, then he switched on the light. So as he spoke this, Ausable, he went into his room, so he closed the door, and then he switched on the light. And as the light came on, Fowler had his first authentic thrill of the day. For halfway across the room, a small automatic in his hand, stood a man. And as the light came on, so Fowler, for the first time in this day, had a real thrill of the day. And why we are talking that, what was the reason of this thrill? That just halfway across the room was a man standing with a pistol in his hand. Ausable blinked a few times. So, few times Ausable blinked his eyes. Yes, Joshita, continue reading. Max, he wheezed.
Possible blinked a few times.
Hmm.
Max, he wheezed. You gave me a start. I thought you were in Berlin. Here in my room.
Hmm. Continue.
Max was slender, a little less than tall. His features suggested slightly the crafty pointed countenance of a fox. There was about him, aside from the gun, menacing.
Hmm. Okay.
The
So,
report, he murmured.
hmm. Yes, yes, read that also.
The report, he murmured. The report that is being brought to you tonight. I thought it would be safer in my hands than in yours.
Okay. So when both of them they saw this man in their room, in Ausible's room, with a small pistol in his hand, and so Fowler, he had his first real thrill of the day, whereas Ausible, he simply blinked his eyes a few times, and then he says, "Oh Max, you simply startled me. You gave me a shock, and I thought you were in Berlin. What are you doing in my room?" And so now let's see how this Max he looked like. Now Max was slender, so he was thin, a little less than tall. So he was not tall. You could say just about average height or a little less than average. His features suggested slightly the crafty pound, pointed countenance of a fox. And when you looked at him closely, his expressions, the expression on his face looked a little like the expressions of a fox. And aside from the gun that was in his hand, there was nothing really menacing or fearful about him. So there was nothing much fearful about his look, except the gun that was in his hand and the expression of a fox on his face. So he answers and says that the report. He asked, no, Ausable asked him that what are you doing in my room? So he says the report. He murmured, the report that is, he said that the report that is being brought to you tonight, and he said that I think that report would be safer in my hands than in yours. Yes, Nusra, read again.
Ausable moved to an armchair and sat down heavily. I am going to raise the devil with the management this time, and you can bet on it, he said grimly. This is the second time in a month somebody has gotten into my room off that confounded balcony.
Continue.
Fowler's eyes went to the single window of the room. It was an ordinary window against which now the night was pressing blackly. Balcony, Max said with a rising inflection. No, a pass key. I did not know about the balcony. It might have saved me some trouble had I known.
Okay,
It
so wait. So Ausable, he moved to an armchair and he sat down, like with a thumb very heavily. He sat down, and then he says, like he sounded really irritated, exasperated. So he was really quite irritated and annoyed at something. He says that I am going to raise the devil. Raise the devil means I will really create a chaos or a disturbance this time, means I will really talk to the management and I'll be really angry with them this time, and this you can bet on. So he said that this time I will be really mad with the management people, and he goes on to say that this is the second time in the month that somebody has gotten into my room from that confounded balcony. Confounded, now here it is just to use an expression of annoyance, of anger, that from that stupid, you could say, or from that confounded balcony, this is the second time in the month that someone has come to my room. So Fowler's his eyes now, now this is something strange to him, so his eyes moved to the window. Now there was just one window in the room, and so his eyes went to that single window in the room, and it just looked like an ordinary window. And if you saw out of the window, you could see that the night was really on and it was quite black outside. So Max was like, balcony? No, no. He said that I came here through a pass key, means I got a key somehow and I came here. And he said that I did not know about the balcony. And if I knew about the balcony, then obviously it could have saved me some trouble and I could have easily come into your room through a balcony. And so Ausable, he with means he's so irritated. He says that no, it is not my balcony. Now this balcony, it belongs to the next apartment, means the apartment next to mine. It belongs to him. That balcony is not mine. And yes, continue. Who will read now? Anyone else wants to read in this class except Nusra and Joshita? Yes, 7C. No one here wants to read? Mehak, are you there in class? Aranya, can you hear me? Okay. Joshita, you only read. So you and Nusra, you can read. Yes.
It's not my balcony, Osable said with extreme irritation. It belongs to the next apartment. He glanced explanatorily at Fowler. You see, he said, this room used to be part of a large unit, and the next room, through that door there, used to be part of the living room. It had the balcony, which extends under my window now. You can get onto it from the empty room, 2 doors down, and somebody did last month. The management promised me to block it off, but they have not.
Continue.
Max glanced at Fowler, who was standing stiffly a few feet from Osable, and waved the gun with a commanding gesture.
All right.
Please sit down, he suggested.
Finish off this line.
Please sit down, he suggested. We have a wait of half an hour at least, I think.
Okay. And so he said that it is not my balcony, but it belongs to the next apartment. And then he looks at Fowler, means in a way to explain the whole situation. And he says that you see, this room, the room where he was now living, this room, it used to be a part of a large unit. And the next room, through that door there, and then he says that this room which I am living now it was not a separate room, it used to be a unit of a larger set of rooms. And the next room, and then he shows that a door, he says that you see that door, through that door the next room, now that used to be the part of the living room, and that had the balcony, that living room had the balcony, and that balcony, it extended under my window there. And so he says that no, it is not my balcony. Now this room was just a part of a bigger set of rooms, and through the door there was a living room, and there was a balcony which extended under my window. And then he says that you can get onto that balcony from the empty room, 2 doors down, means 2 stories down. You can easily climb on it, on that balcony. And he said that somebody really did climb that balcony and came into my room through that balcony. And he said that the management, when I complained to the management, so they promised me that they will block off that balcony, but they haven't done till now. And so Max now, he looked at Fowler, and he was standing very stiffly. Ausable, he sat down. We already saw that he sat down in a very irritating, he was exasperated, and so in that mood he sat down. Whereas Fowler, he was standing very stiff, all right, not moving. So he was standing stiffly, and he was just standing a few feet from Ausable. And so Max, he waved the gun at Fowler and said, like you wave a gun, and he said, please sit down. And then he said that we have a wait of half an hour, so we'll have to wait for the paper for half an hour. So why don't you sit down? And so Ausable, he says 31 minutes, Ausable said moodily. So he said that we have a wait for half an hour, means 30 minutes. So Ausable, like a real detective, he says no, not 30, 31 minutes. He says smoothly, the appointment was for 12:30. I wish I knew how you learned about that report, Max. And then he says, oh no, 31 minutes because the appointment is for 12:30. And then he says that I don't know that how you, Max, got to know about that report. And so Max, he smiled without real joy, so without real mirth, without joy, that crooked smile. So he smiled, and then he said, and we wish we knew how it was gotten this far. He replied, however, no harm has been done. I will have it back. That is, what is that? And then he says, the other man, Max means he smiled without any joy. And then he says that, he said that we wish, that he wished that he knew that how this report has got so far, that now it was coming in the hand of the secret agent or detective. And he said that I don't know that how all this got so far, but then he says that it's okay, no harm done, because today I will take that report from you and I will have it back. Unconsciously, Fowler, who was still standing, had jumped at the sudden rapping on the door. Oswald yawned. So, Fowler, he was all shocked because of all the happenings that were going on, and because there was a gun also in the hand of this other man, means Max, and so there was this sudden, knocking on the door, and unconsciously, Fowler, he simply jumped because he was not waiting for this call. So all of a sudden he jumped unconsciously when he heard this knocking on the door, and Oswald, he simply yawned, and then he says, the gendarmes, he said, I thought that so important a paper as the one we are waiting for might well be given a little extra protection. And so now he explains that why this knocking is on the door, and he says that this is the gendarmes, means these are the French police officers, and he said that I already know that these were very important papers that we were waiting for tonight, so I knew that we needed extra protection, and so I asked the French police officers to come here. Alright, so that is all the time we have for today. Have you understood till here, class?
Yes, ma'am.
Alright. Okay, so we'll end the class today here.